All right, guys, welcome to another unboxing video. Today we've got the Addies Diver. This one is kind of modeled on the Seiko turtle shell type approach Prospex models that I quite like the look of, but I've never really pulled off the wearing of. It doesn't really appeal to me. But I know they're quite well renowned and fairly well revered, and they're pretty good. We've had a few in here for sure. So I want to get this one in. Oh, it's super hard to open this, but it comes in this little dive case. When you open it, then you've got the protective materials here. You've got a user manual, warranty card. It kind of reminds me of like Deep Blue. The way they give you their gumph about the brand. The watch itself is then in this super thick plastic coating, which thankfully is good because we've got this little pin rolling around in it. Always upsets me, but it's good that it's well wrapped here in the plastic, which again, super thick, super protective. So this is what we have today, the Addies Diver. Really, I want to get this in. I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole, and I like to do a lot of variety here, you know, so we get different watches at different levels, different price points, depending on your likes and preferences and budgetary requirements. And I've gone down this rabbit hole of the Chinese factory brands recently. You've probably seen in terms of the unboxings, we've done San Martin, Pagani, and so on. So Addies Dive I've never had in, so I thought I'd get one in just to see what it's like. You're normally talking for this particular model, maybe around $100. So, you know, it's quite a package for that price, albeit, of course, a lesser known brand than, say, a Seiko. Now, my experience with these watches in the Seiko line, or this design in the Seiko line, is that the build quality is haphazard. The case brushing and manufacture is decent, but not great. The bracelets are absolutely awful. They're like tin, and it kind of feels a little bit cheap, but that's Seiko for a lot of their range. I'm very, very particular. If we're picking a Seiko to come in for example, a member in the watch club, I'm very particular about what we get in because I'm always skeptical about the quality with Seiko. And, you know, we've been disappointed in the past. This one I thought just was very unique, beautiful dial on it. It's kind of got this metallic, it's not just white, it's definitely got a metallic sheen off it. This kind of cracked ripple through the dial, which is really, really nice. It just catches the light and has a great depth to it. Great depth to the dial as well. We've got a sapphire crystal up top. You see just kind of box crystal, rigid bevel there up to a flat top. So it looks very good. It's very clear. You can see right through. I assume it's got some anti-reflective coating on it, but you can definitely see through really well. It doesn't get too many reflections at all. As you go out then, we've got applied indices, we've got a nice hand kit there, a little sort of unique second hand with a red dot on it moving around. It's powered by an NH35 as you would expect, very similar again to the Seiko, that's what you're going to get. I think the thing that jumped out on this to me when I first opened it, overall, the quality is better than the Seiko. Now, the Seikos will probably retail around $500, whether you can get them maybe around $200, $300, depending on the level. If you go up like those King models, and I'm not the biggest Seiko aficionado, so don't quote me on that. But I think they're normally around $300 to $500, depending on the case design. Other brands have done this case design, this kind of turtle shell case, which I think is a good look. But you get other brands doing this. You know, Heritor being another factory brand do it, except in a smaller scale. I know Deep Blue do a similar type thing. I've had a few of those in, and while they are fine, the quality again is pretty lackluster. It's, you know, for $200, you're probably getting fine quality, but my view on this is if we can get better quality for less, then it's a win-win, right? And I have to say this particular model knocks it out of the park because you get the same movement, you get the same design, you get a much better brushing on the case, which I'll show you. You get a better bracelet, you get a arguably nicer dial. Some of the Seiko ones are really nice too, don't get me wrong, but you also get a lot of other features here. So I'm going to take you around the case and show you around. Up top, we've got this beautiful stainless steel bezel insert, which is really, really well brushed. Circular pattern brushing. Everything is very, very precise in terms of the cutouts and the delineation of all the markers. So it's really, really well done. Marker lines up with the 12 perfectly. We have this lovely industrial bezel edge to it, which is really nice, easy to grip, and it smoothly rotates around the turtle case. The case itself is really, really well done. You have this circular pattern brushing around the lugs, circular shaped case as well, 43mm case. So pretty much what you would expect and what you would be looking for in the Seiko line. It wears pretty big. I'm not sure of the lug to lug. It doesn't say it in the specifications. I imagine it's maybe 48, something like that. It's fairly big, 43mm, and just stretches out a little bit. So it wears, for a wrist like mine, it wears pretty big. I'll do a wrist check at the end. But it's very well manufactured around the top. It's really well brushed, matches that bezel insert really well. As you go around the sides then, we've got stamped crown. It's got the Addies Dive logo in like a polish effect. So you can see it sort of glinting in the light. It's very, very well done. Polished sides to the case, so it adds a little dynamic with the light hitting it on the polish versus the brushed top. Polishes in around the crown guards, which are very nice and substantial. Actually, they really perfectly match up with the curve and where the crown is. One thing I did notice out of the gate is that a lot of the watches that look like this, it's a real pain to get the crown out, and also there's sharp edges under the crown. This doesn't suffer from that. It's really, really well done. So we'll pop out the NH35. So we'll go anti-clockwise for the date, clockwise for the time setting. Very smooth. This is really well done as well. Probably what you would expect for an NH35. Pop it in, screw it in, and it's just, there's no sharp edges underneath here whatsoever, which again is something that a lot of the Seikos and Deep Blues and so on suffer from. So you see it's really well designed under there. It's like there's little bevels that come up and mean that you can actually grip the crown, but there are no sharp edges in there. Really, really well done on that. So the case itself is beautifully engineered. The bezel mechanism is next level. Most of the watches at 400, 500, even hell, I'm wearing my Zodiac Super Seawolf today. The bezel action on this isn't as nice as the bezel action on this. This one, it's fairly nice, but if you watch my video on these, you'll know that some of the other ones, like the Skin Diver, were super notchy and just not that precise. Well, you see this one is really, really good, especially, not least for the price point. You get worse bezel actions on $1,000, $1,500 watches, but listen to this. Beautiful tactile click to it, easy enough to turn, and very precise. I've gone over there. No, that's it. Yeah, perfectly lines up as well with the 12, which is of course super important, but just a really nice mechanism, nice engineering, nice build quality, beautiful dial, workhorse movement. You know what you're getting. Another thing that really tips the scale is the bracelet is way nicer than you would get on a Seiko. I mean, Seiko and Citizen, in my mind, are renowned for awful bracelets, like tin bracelets. They feel cheap. The clasps are awful. The links are jingly jangly. Not a good feel. That's normally why I don't go for Citizens or Seikos. Clasp on this is, albeit cheap. You're going to get that little, this is generic. You see it everywhere on cheaper brands. Generic kind of flip over with the push release. It's okay. I would have loved to have seen this, because you get it on like the Paganis and stuff. I would love to see this with the Addies Dive logo in there on the clasp. I don't like this. It's a pretty short clasp. I'd rather it were longer, maybe just a push release like you would get on a San Martin. But again, you're paying more for those, so it's arguable as to whether they could do that. But it's really the only sort of cheap out moment of the watch. The case back itself is really, really nice. Again, we've got polished around the exterior, and then a lovely little Addies Dive design with like the harpoons and some goggles, couple of stars, NH35, 300 meters, sorry, 200 meters. It's kind of covered by a little protective line. But really, really nice case back. That engineering under the crown is so smart, you know, phenomenal. They don't do screw pins on this. These are push pins, I think. Yeah, they are. So push pins on the bracelet. Again, for $100, I'm not going to knock it for that, but some of the Paganis are doing it for less, and they're doing screw pins. So I always prefer that. I'll give a shout out to any brand that actually goes to that length. So overall, though, this is super, super impressive. I would happily wear this. And it's way, way better engineered across the board, from the bezel insert to the bezel mechanism to the case brushing, polishing, the case back, the crown design, the way it just is so easy to get in and out. It's really well done, and I'm super happy with this. So that's the Adizdive Diver. It's in the turtle case kind of look. Let me see if I can get a wrist shot for you. I haven't opened the clasp brand, and it's all still wrapped, so I'll have to kind of squeeze in a little bit. But yeah, 43mm case, a little bit bigger than probably I would wear with that turtle shape. It's pretty bulky for my little wrist. But it looks really good on the wrist. It's honestly a superb little piece, and you know, you're ticking all the boxes. You're getting the design, you're getting better engineering, you're getting the workhorse movement, you're getting a lovely unique dial there. It's just great, and I'm super impressed. So that's the Adizdive, the first I've ever had in. So knocked it out of the park. I'll be getting more without a doubt for the price. Again, I'll go on about this. I know that people have their issues with it, snobs about, you know, so it's a Chinese factory brand. It's they're ripping off Seiko's design. I mean, everybody does it, right? So there's a point at which you go, are they actually doing the job better than the established brands who maybe are cheaping out and being a little bit lazy about how they're going about things? And these brands like Seiko shouldn't be like that, but they are. That's the truth, and that's why I generally don't buy Seiko, and I'm really particular, as I mentioned at the start. So I would say this is head and shoulders above any Seiko in this exact design, in terms of the engineering, the manufacture, the smart thought process with the little crown guard and the underneath, which is nicely polished and smooth. The dial is great. The bezel mechanism is 5 steps above where the Seikos are. They're awful anyway, but this is really, really good. So there you go. That's the Adizdive Diver in the turtle shell case design. Hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts or experience with the brand. For now, take it easy. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one, guys.